What the heck? Why is the check engine light on? What? Oh, the Honda boys. The Honda. Stewie. The Honda's down. What do we do? Didn't even get a full week out of her. What? It's not making it better. You don't. She's trying to comfort me. She's like, "It's okay, Dad. It's okay. You can just walk to work, huh? It's only 45 miles. Huh. Huh. So last night, on my way home from work, I had to go over 2 mountains. 2 from work. Uphill both ways, barefoot. Rain, snow. You know, whatever. So, got to the second mountain on the way home, and my check engine light came on, and I was going around this sharp turn at the bottom, and I was like, what the heck? So, I proceeded to go up this mountain, and I normally run it up about 4,000 RPMs, 4,500 going up, and before I shift. I hit about 3,700 RPMs, and it just like hit a rev limiter and went burn, 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 like would not go any faster. So I went to the next gear, and it was fine until I hit about 3,700. So it told me that whatever was wrong with it, it put it in limp mode. So I got home about 11 o'clock last night and hooked the computer up, and I got a code. It was like a P12 something, 1235, 1236. It was something of that matter, but it ended up being VTEC solenoid, which I suspected because it felt kind of weird in the higher RPMs, like it was in and out of power a little bit. So I looked up the symptoms, and it can either be, there's like 4 things it can be. The VTEC solenoid, the oil is low, oil pressure is low, or there's a oil pressure sensor on the VTEC solenoid itself. There's 2 sensors on that whole setup, and if either one of those goes bad, it can lose VTEC, and then it puts you in limp mode. So I was going to order that stuff, and I was like, you know what, I better just check the oil, and sure enough, it was, I don't even think it was on the dipstick. It was low, boys. It was low. So the fact that the car went into limp mode and protected it is good, but it was still very low to the point where VTEC wouldn't work. So, we're going to do an early oil change on this. I do not think it's burning oil. It doesn't smoke. I've had it running now for like 20 minutes, and I put a whole quart of ATF in it to clean it out. ATF is a detergent, and you can use that as fuel injection cleaner, engine cleaner, whatever you want. But since I'm doing an oil change on it, I put a quart in. Also added some oil that I had here in it. Another thing you can do if your car's burning oil, and I've heard this because a buddy of mine did it. He had a Elantra. He was running to work, and his car was burning oil. And he switched from synthetic oil to conventional oil, and it stopped burning oil. So we're going to switch to conventional oil for this. Hey, wife.
Hello.
How you doing?
Great, how about you?
I'm good.
Huh?
I'm good.
That's good.
Honda's not. So, you got her nice and warmed up. Let the ATF cycle through her. And I'm going to change the oil right now. I might not run it to work tonight. I might run it to work tonight. I have time this morning. I'm wondering if we don't have an oil leak somewhere, because you can't see any from the top of the engine, but I remember when I changed the oil, the back side of the engine was very oily. So I'm going to look when I get it up here, and we're going to see where this oil's going. And another thing I ordered was a catch can with a baffled oil catch can. So it doesn't just circulate through it like that cheap one I put on the Eclipse. We're going to put an oil catch can on this so I can monitor it. I'll check it maybe once a week and see if it fills up with oil. If it does, that means you have a lot of blow by and a lot of oil is going through the intake and you're burning it. But I revved it and it's been sitting there running. Now, other than moisture, it was steaming. Now there's none. There's no smoke. So it's not excessively burning oil that I know of. And plus we put several thousand miles on it. I put about 3,000 miles on it before this happened. So let's get this thing up in the air and see if there's an oil leak. Alright, so you guys are getting first look, as am I. And you're oily right here. That almost looks like an oil pan gasket to me. We're oily back here. Well, this back here is where it looked the worst before. It does not look excessive. I don't see a bad oil leak anywhere. All this is like, it's not dripping. It's just a little oily, that's all. And I don't see anything. That's bad. Bad news to me. So dropped the oil out where it as dark as can be. Came out very dirty. So I'm gonna let this drain. I used a Mobil 1 oil filter on this thing. Yeah, we're not gonna do that this time. We're gonna take the Kia to Huntington. Got a low tire light on it. Also, the oil is way past due. And so is Ashley's Camaro, because she runs them both. She's been running the Kia and the Camaro to keep the miles down on her Camaro. So now they're both ready for service. Plus the Honda I got service. This is the downside to owning so many vehicles. Okay, so this is all making sense to me now. I was looking up oil consumption problems with that engine, and a lot of people do not have oil consumption problems with it. But they did say if your oil is low, if you make a sharp left-hand turn, the way the oil pickup tube is set up on that it could starve the VTEC valve of oil, which would give me a check engine light, which I was making a sharp left-hand turn whenever my check engine light came on, and then it had me in limp mode, and I couldn't rev it into VTEC after that. Along with the oil change, I'm also putting a PCV valve in it, and I'm in Huntington to get my oil now at Wally World, and Advanced doesn't have it, but AutoZone has a PCV valve, and it looks like it's easy to get to while you're changing your oil. You get up from underneath the car and it's right there. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to change the oil, and then I will probably drive it to work tonight. But I got to change oil in this. I'm going to change oil in the Camaro. That ain't happening today, because I got to take my PC out to my buddy's place and see what all I need to order for that. And I only have so many hours before I got to go to work. I got to work all weekend for the next 4 to 5 weeks. So your boy's making money, but I'm not gonna be able to make. I'm making videos in between. It's just when I have time to edit them, we'll figure it out. That's it. I'm starting my own oil refinery. Only the best for the Honda. We're going to throw some high mileage 520 SuperTech in it, and then I'm going to keep some 530 on hand in case I am burning. I'm going to put a little bit of thicker oil in it. Maybe that'll help. Also got this PVC valve. All this is a like a one-way valve. It'll still let a little bit through, but it lets crankcase pressure vent out through it, and it doesn't let any back in. It's got a little spring-loaded plunger in there. So one way to check the one when you take it out, see if that plunger's in there, and also try to blow it. Oh, behave. Blow through the end of it and see if it's letting air through the. If it's open, then it should have a little bit of pressure to it so it doesn't let like all the pressure out. But if it's open all the time, then you are definitely going to burn some oil. So this is one cheap way of, helping with your oil consumption if you do have oil consumption. So I'm going to see if I can find this PCV valve. According to online, it is up underneath here, and it's very simple to get to. And I see it. I don't know if you see it, but I see it. I'll put an arrow on the screen to it. Right there it is. That looks pretty easy to get to, and it's in a plastic housing, so do not over tighten it when you put a new one on. I got it out. It does not appear to be bad. Only there is a difference between these two, and it is the end. This is the one that came out, obviously, because it's very dirty. This is the one that's going in. The hole in the end, a little bit smaller, but it does feel like it's working, and it's not letting air through. So I'd say this is working, but we're going to replace it anyways. So I took the old girl out, and everything seems fine. She's VTECing like she should, and it runs fine. It's not making any motor noises. It runs good. So I honestly do not know how it burned through all that oil. I mean, I will be honest with you. Since that oil change, I ran this thing really hard. Okay, I was running it up to red line. So I mean, there is a chance that at higher RPM we are burning a little bit of oil, but it's not smoking when it's running. I'm just going to keep running it. And honestly, if it starts burning more, then I'm going to put the thicker oil in, a little bit of thicker oil to top it off and everything as we go along. And then maybe next change we'll put 530 in it. It takes 520. I put 520 high mileage in it, and there's no visible oil leaks. It's just dry. We're just going to have to run it and see what happens. When we get the catch can, that'll give us more details if this thing has a lot of blow by or whatnot. Catch can's not bad. It keeps your engine clean. The vapors that come out of your valve cover run into your intake, and it sucks in through your engine. And that over time gunks up your intake and your throttle body and all that stuff. So it's not going to hurt to have a catch can on this. Plus we can monitor and see how much blow by there is. But now I'm heading off to work. So I guess we'll see you guys later. Well, another night of night shift is done. Well, second shift. Another day of overtime. The Honda seems to be running really good. I checked the oil after I got here. It's at the same level. I'll just have to keep monitoring it. I don't think I did any engine damage. There's no weird noises. I guess there's really no use in me flipping that camera. You can't see me! But I still got my night vision camera there. I put a new cell phone holder in right here to hold my phone. But yeah, the car is working good. So I'll be mounting this in the Honda. I ordered this on Amazon like yesterday. But pleasantly surprised at this. It was like 24 bucks on Amazon. O-rings for gaskets. Baffled. Now, in between, there's just two plates like this. There's one there, and you can see the line. It separates there. I took these out, took a piece of Scotch-Brite, cut it to that size, then sprayed carb cleaner on the Scotch-Brite and blew it out with air, because I don't know what kind of solvents are in Scotch-Brite, if there is any. But, it came out green. And then I fit it inside there, which you can kind of see it inside. So that'll help strain the oil vapors out of the air when it comes through. But every fitting has an O-ring. It has a dipstick. And it's just a small canister. It's very nice. Very thick aluminum. It's very nice. But it gives you several different fittings. And like I said, it's got a dipstick for it. And this is all metal. So very nice. And it even comes with a little bit of Teflon tape if you want to use it. But with the O-rings, I really don't see the reason to even need this.
Oh, hey, ZB boy. How you doing? Huh? You sleepy?
So, we got that oil catch can. Right now, I have it zip tied in on the intake. As you can see, I had the welder out. Was doing a little bit of welding. Forgot to shut my gas off. I know that. I'm going to turn her off now. Well, I have a little bit left. I made myself a bracket, and this is for mounting the oil catch can. And it should be... It's still a little tacky. Oh, I pulled the paint off. Whatever. It's a little sticky still. I might have to spray it once I get it in the car. But this is to mount the oil catch can. There's a 45-degree angle on it. This is hard to see, isn't it? There's a 45-degree bend on it right here that I got to drill a hole in, and that is going to mount on an intake mount, and this comes straight up, and I got to drill 2 holes here for the catch can. And this angles it right towards where it needs to be. All this was angle iron. I cut a slit in it, bent this over, welded it inside and out, and this is what you get. So a couple holes here, a hole here, and it's ready to go. Yeah, I sprayed this with self-etching primer and paint, which, like I said, it's dry to the touch, but it's still tacky. So kind of gonna get it all over the place. Now, if you really wanted to get fancy with this, you could have cut this a little bit longer, put a slit down this angle, and cut this part off, and then fold that piece over, and I could have welded it, and it would have been even stronger yet. But I really don't think I'm gonna have an issue with this. So let's go outside, and I'll show you what's going on. So right now, the catch can is just zip tied to the intake because I didn't have anywhere to mount it. These are just hoses that I had left over. This is actually really good hose. Dem hose. Where the can's going to go, it's going to go a little bit closer now. Another thing is, this is steel and this is aluminum. So you don't want to bolt it straight to it because aluminum against steel causes corrosion. It makes it wear more. But as you can see, I have a piece of foam in between the intake and this as of right now so that they don't wear against each other. But back here, as you can see that hole right there, that's where this is going to mount. And it's going to mount in like so, like that, and then I can mount the can right to it right here. Alright, so after some finagling, there is where it is bolted to. The bracket comes up. I did have to bend it a little bit to get it where I wanted it. It's got a little bit of an angle on it, but it fits in there very nicely. And the hoses aren't at too much of an angle where they kink over shut. It looks good. I'm very happy with that. Only downside to all this is probably gonna have to take these 2 screws out if I want to drain the can itself, but it's really not that bad to do. They're very easy to access. So yeah, turned out pretty good. So that's going to be the end of this video, guys. So if you like this video, go check out some of my other videos, like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.